to cancel culture, hookup culture, or victim culture?
Well, neither could we. We created this platform for those other girls. Girls like us who want to give a different perspective from a Christian and conservative worldview.
We talk about life, work, relationships, pop culture, and everything in between. So let's be those other girls that just don't talk about culture,
but change culture.
Hello, everyone. You are listening to Those Are the Girls with Mallory and Friends. I'm Mallory.
And I'm Freeman.
And we are changing culture and bringing back traditional values.
All day, every day.
All day, every day. You are listening to a pop culture podcast. We talk about pop culture. But we don't just talk about pop culture. We change culture. And not only that, we're not going to be like other pop culture podcasts. This is a podcast where you're going to get opinions that you might not agree with. But that doesn't mean you should... Hot takes galore. And that doesn't mean you should turn your album, not your album, your dial thing.
Don't turn the mental page on us, baby.
Yeah. Don't turn on us. It just means that you will have other opinions. And that kind of leads us to some of our quick announcements. We now have an app, which is so awesome. If you go on our website, you'll be directed to download the app if you'd like. If you go on all our social medias, we have information about it. If you reach out to us individually, you can get information on it. But we have an app now, and this app will make it easier for you to be able to connect with other girls all across the country to discuss these topics. Because one of the ways that we believe that culture is going to change is through having good discussions, which is partially, another segue to another thing I wanted to talk about is the tea parties, but it's going into these discussions with kind of an understanding that me and you, we're both Christian, we both care about the country, we both care about each other. We might not agree on how this problem is going to be solved, but we're going into this conversation with that understanding, so then we can have it's easier to talk, it's easier to understand each other. So we're gonna have on the app, there's parts where you can have discussions with people about all the topics we're going to discuss today, and we can have really meaningful talks about, like, if this is important, if this is something we should even be talking about, how do we fix this, how do we fix that, how do we talk to our neighbors. So you should definitely join the app. Super fun.
Yeah, and I just want to throw in there, we want you all to feel heard, and this is part of that effort. I know that sometimes I don't feel like I'm given a platform to speak my mind, and this is your time to be asked personally what you think. We want you to feel heard. We want you to feel like you have a platform with us, and we will always listen to your hot takes, no matter what they are.
Yes, and we also can go into these conversations, not necessarily trying to change the person's mind and save the world at this moment, but always remember that we're dropping seeds. So definitely get the app. This is a place where you are free to have discussion. It's not Facebook, so the group won't be taken down. You don't have to feel super nervous. We are vetting everybody that is added to the group, so ideally there won't be any crazy people in there. You never know, and what I call crazy might not be crazy to other people, but we are vetting the people that are coming in and making sure that it's like a good environment, that we're going to have actual fostering of good conversation, similar to our tea party. So for those that were not able to attend 2 weeks ago, before we took our quick hiatus, we had an amazing tea party, got such good feedback.
It was really fun, and I haven't been able to come on and thank everyone for being there. There were some really, really cool conversations I was having at my table. And I had such a good time. And I'm just so thankful for this community. It's so different, speaking just me and Mallory and posting things versus being in front of people and seeing their faces and them being like, I know your voice. I mean, being like, what? It was just wild, and it was so fun. And oh my gosh, just thank you all for being there.
Yes, seriously. Thank you, everybody. And, I'm not going to say where, but we actually have had 3 different states. Are they different state? Well, 2 in one state and a completely different state reach out in cities. 3 different cities. There we go. We've had 3 different cities ask for us to do a tea party this year. Now, whether we're going to do all 3 of them this year, that's up in the air, but so this is something that like people want, and we want to be able to provide that. And we are, I mean, this is how we're going to change the culture. I said this in the last episode. And I'm going to say it again. This is how we're going to change the culture. We're changing the culture by like having conversations, by talking to people, being face to face, doing things one-on-one. We're not changing the culture, owning the libs every single time. Yeah. There's a time and a place to own the libs, I guess. But, but that's not really what's going to make the difference. How are we going to get people to stop having abortions? Because even when we do abolish abortion completely in the U.S., there's still going to be women out there who are going to try to do them, unfortunately, in back rooms. There's still going to be women out there who are going to try to do it themselves. So how do we even stop that? We stop that by changing culture, by changing people's hearts. And it is possible.
Giving people a community,
yes.
somewhere they can turn to. Because ultimately, when a woman chooses abortion, we have failed her. So we are not going to be complacent anymore. We want you to feel like you can come to us. And building a community is going to be such a big part of that.
Yes, so we're really excited. We already have a couple people on the app. Like I said, we have people talking about the Tea Party joining. You guys are not going to regret it. And if you're loving what you're hearing, go ahead and join our Patreon. You can join for as low as $5 a month. And it's a tax write-off. I found that out recently. So that's amazing. You can join for as low as $5 a month. And then we even have a tier for $60 a month. In our Patreon, we're going to continue to have like exclusive conversations for the Patreon members. But more than anything, you're helping us with this. You're helping us build this podcast. You're helping us grow. Shout out to everyone we have grown. Even though we've had this 2 weeks of not listening, I've checked the app, there has not been a single day where we didn't get multiple listeners. And I don't mean just like 5 or 6. I mean, it's up there. So we're growing, and if you join a Patreon, you're part of that growth. So go ahead and do that. We also have merch on the website. For example, this cute Other Girls, cup is on our website. This is the Barbie font, which is perfect for the Barbie movie that's coming out sometime in June, I believe. Cute. We also have that on t-shirts. We have it on phone cases, just really cute stuff. We also have like Those Are the Girls with our logo merch and things like that. Super cute stuff on the website. And that also helps if you can't commit to $5 a month. It's great if you commit to a one-time t-shirt purchase. That's great as well. All of it helps. All of it matters, because right now we need help with that financially. No matter what, we're always going to put forth our best effort, but help us be better.
Yeah, if you guys knew the money that Mallory has put into this out of pocket, you would all be joining the Patreon. It's probably it's a problem.
It is a problem
that Mallory has been putting in out of pocket. So seriously, if we could just break even, guys,
that's all I want.
That's all we want. We're not in it for the money.
I'm not in it for the money.
To not lose money.
It would be nice to break even, especially because I think it's something that we all can participate in, and this is just one of the ways that you're helping. And I will say, and since you said that really quick, my dad asked me when I came back from the tea party, he was like, oh, so did you get any money? Like, was this a paid event? And I was like, it wasn't so much as paid. Like, I wasn't the person who was paid, but yeah. And he's like, what do you mean?
Somebody was paid.
Yeah, I was like, there were financial transactions during this event. Absolutely. That for sure happened. Whether I was on the receiving end, that is, that's where things debatable. Are kind of, that's debatable.
Perspectives.
But different, lots of perspectives. But yeah, so those are the announcements. That was real country of me. Those are the announcements. Anything interesting happened to you in the last couple of weeks?
Let's see. Well, I have this really, really cute Culture of Life sweatshirt. It's adorable. I'm pretty sure it's discontinued, though. That's why I was able to get it for $10. Ooh. But I've rediscovered my love of jumpsuits. This summer is going to be a jumpsuit / romper free.
Love it. Love it.
That was actually something I wrote on my New Year's resolution tic-tac-toe board. Or was it a tic-tac-toe board?
Bingo. It was bingo. It was bingo.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, and I wrote on there, like, be thoughtful about my wardrobe. And I just have been so excited. You know, once a month I get a really nice piece or something. And it's coming together. So that's what I'm excited about. What are you excited about, Mallory?
Well, really quick, I want to say, Freeman and our friend Elise got the absolute cutest jumpsuit from Culture of Life that is on their website. I'm 98% sure. Or it might have been from their past collection.
Yeah, a past collection.
Ooh, you guys missed it because it's super cute. They look absolute, like, when they both, it was so funny. Like, we walked up. You
can see it on the Instagram. You'll see it.
It's all over on both their pages, really.
Yeah.
They both posted about it. Like, they walked up and immediately went, oh, it was funny.
We
super
did.
Cute.
We walked right into the fashion show. Didn't say hi to anyone. Yeah. I saw this jumpsuit in the back corner room with a $10 tag next to it, and I snagged that thing.
So, yeah, it's super cute. Okay, so anything interesting happened to me these past couple of weeks? Nothing necessarily super interesting. I'm rewatching Switched at Birth. Did you ever watch that when it was first on? Rewatching Switched at Birth. I really should be watching other stuff because I want to start Oops spoilers again, but I rewatch stuff when I just need something mindless. Like, you know, you can never, I can't have complete silence, and that means I have to think, you know, can't do that. I can't be doing that.
You get your thoughts.
No, gosh, no, absolutely not. So I need to have something playing in the background whenever I do anything. So sometimes I'll be like doing things for the jewelry store. Anyway, so I'm rewatching Switched at Birth. Did not, like, as an adult, rewatching this show, my opinions on almost every character has changed. And I don't think they played this episode because if you follow me on Instagram, I did post about it on my story. But they have like a pro-life like storyline in there, and I don't remember them playing a specific episode where it turns out Daphne, who is vegan and she blackmailed. No, she has red hair, but it's natural. She blackmailed. She blackmailed a senator because she wanted him to not support an abstinence bill. So she's pro-contraception. She is like she's super liberal. Like, that's her whole thing. Yeah. But she's the pro-life one. So long story short, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen already, the older brother, who was played by the guy who plays Ryan from High School Musical.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes, so he gets his girlfriend pregnant, and it turns out that the baby has Downs, and they're going back and forth about like what they should do, and it's like this huge deal. Like, some of the others, one of the girls that was switched, so they call themselves sisters at this point in the show, and they pretty much are because they have the same parents because of the switch. Anyway, so one of the sisters is like, no, like, this is so awful, like. And at one point, she even says, I hope she does not keep the baby, which is wild. And then the other sister is like, so there was a point, like, oh, there's two options. And then the pro-life girl goes, well, actually, there's only one, meaning adoption. So then they have this conversation. It doesn't get wild or heated or anything like that, but it's just kind of like, wow.
Yeah. And Mallory, we need to start an accidentally pro-life like little blip thing.
I was thinking really that fun. Like
that would be super fun.
And this is an accidentally pro-life because I'm not sure if that's necessarily the message they were going for, but like that's 100% what it was. And I mean, throughout the whole episode, they go and they visit a daycare for kids with special needs. And, you know, they learn a little bit about like how they still are worthy of life. And like, there's a part where like, the mom, someone's like, well, no, this is a baby. I don't know, it's just like, it's a life. And it was just like, wow, this is so refreshing. It's so good. Yeah. Like, accidentally pro-life. It's on Hulu. It's on Hulu. Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Switched at Birth. It's not till season 4. Season 1 through 3, I will say, chef's kiss, so good. Season 4, they're in college, and like, other than the storyline is teetering off, and I do remember season 5 being atrocious, but you know, this storyline is really good. Yeah, it happens. Because I mean, there's only so much where you can or so much you can do with, like, they were switched at birth. I mean, eventually, like,
yeah, eventually it's like, we get it.
yeah, and eventually it's like, okay, you need to get over it and, like, live your life. Like, not to be, you know,
not to be insensitive.
Not to be insensitive. Sorry for those out there who have been switched at birth. This is not a dig at you, but it's like, okay, let's move forward. But anyway, that's it. One of the exciting things going on in my life. We should probably get started. And I will say, everyone, this will probably be a longer episode. So grab your tea and take a seat, because we have so much to discuss. It's been a long time since we've been here at this mic, and I have missed this mic, this beautiful, lovely pink mic. I have missed it. And I've missed talking with Freeman. I haven't seen her in 2 weeks. Has it been 2 weeks? Oh my gosh, it's been 2 weeks. I haven't seen you in 2 weeks. And I've missed everybody and their interactions on the podcast, if I'm being honest. I love when people comment on the comments. So go ahead and comment now. Your favorite TV show. I don't know. Okay. So without further ado, let us get started. Ready? Clink. Okay,
you forgot to clink at the tea party, Mallory.
I know. Well, it was a little. That's another thing, you guys. Side note. I hope I did a good job. I'm actually very proud that I didn't, like, freak out as much as I wanted to. Yeah. Because, like, a lot of things did not go as planned, but we know what we did wrong. Well, what I did wrong, really. Well, or even anyway, we know what went wrong. We know what went wrong. Yeah, we know what went wrong, and we know how we're going to improve it. Yes, how we're going to improve it next time. Already have, you know, discussing with other ladies that are going to be doing this all across the country. Like, we've already. Don't you worry, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. So this first story, well, the show altogether, is brought to you by the Pink Rose. The Pink Rose, for those that don't know, is my jewelry store. I have a jewelry store.
What?
And yeah, believe it or not, I have a jewelry store. And this signature necklace, I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, you can get beautiful jewelry that you can wear all day, morning, midday, and nights out with the girlies. So you can see this necklace. I like to wear necklaces stacked, especially with this one. And it goes literally with anything. And you can get 10% off now with the code OTHERGIRLS10. So now we have our own code on the website. So you guys should check it out. So, okay, here's our first story. And this is by, actually, never mind. So this is CNBC. Here we go. Taylor Swift sidestepped FTX lawsuit by asking a simple question. Investors can use the same strategy to avoid potential scams. When it comes to making business decisions, Taylor Swift does her due diligence all too well. I bet they had such a fun time writing that sentence. In 2021, the pop superstar was approached by the now bankrupt corrupt exchange FTX about $100 million sponsorship deal that would involve, listen to this, everybody, because I'm sure everybody's heard this story, but you don't know the intricacies of this. Listen to this. $100 million sponsorship deal that would involve selling tickets as non-fungible tokens, NFTs, to her
non-fungible?
Fungible. NFTs.
Okay, I've never heard that term.
NFT. You've heard NFT.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. That's what non-fungibles are, NFTs.
What does that mean?
So it's those pictures that people were selling for money. So there was okay, let me finish the article. Okay, let me finish the article. She would be selling tickets as NFTs to her fans, according to Financial Times. However, it never materialized. Before inking the deal, the Swift asked the FTX representative a simple question. One of the attorneys leading the class lawsuit says, during an episode of The Scoop and Discovery, Taylor Swift actually asked him, "Can you tell me that these are non-registered? Can you tell me that these are not unregistered securities?" The Moskovitz lawsuit is seeking over $5 billion in damages, according to the law firm. The lawsuit claims that the FTX's high-profile promoters didn't properly research FTX before participating in offer and sell of unregistered securities in the form of yield-bearing accounts. Swift, sorry. I got a notification from my period. Okay, Swift was one of the only celebrities to question the exchange. And they did not return for a comment. As a part of the December complainant, SEC, you guys know the SEC alleged that the FTX's native digital token, FTT, fits the agency's definition of security because it was offered and sold as an investment contract. Okay. So then I'll read this other part. So in this article, it also kind of talks about like how do we recognize what's a scam. I'll read that in a second. First, I want to talk about the article and explain like what.
Please do.
Okay, so this person asked. So NFTs were all the rage like 2 years ago. I'm still not completely sure what an NFT is, other than it's a picture that is worth like it can be worth
it's a digital photo.
A digital photo that could be worth like $500 million in like Bitcoin. And now why you would want a digital photo and pay all that is above my bank account, because there is nothing in me that would have paid $500 million. But I mean, people were making NFTs and Gary Vee was promoting this. Like, people were making becoming millionaires from these NFTs.
Can't you just screenshot the photo?
And you know what? That is such a valid question. One I've had before, and yes, but it's still not worth anything if you screenshot it. Once again, this whole thing is above my, like, bank account, because there's no way I would have paid. I was looking at, like, what do I need to do to make one? But I wouldn't have, like, paid for one. So it's all part of the metaverse and the metaverse is more along the lines of like doing things on the internet, like having life on the internet. So like you have a meta house and you have your meta painting type of thing. So what they wanted to do was they wanted her to sell NFTs. So like a picture, because Trump is selling NFTs too. It's like just like a picture. And that is your ticket. Like, that's how you are paying to get into the concert.
And she asked, is this legal? Is this, like, legitimate?
Essentially, she asked, like, are these things already legal? Like, is this something, like, and the guy just stopped, like, communicating with her. From my understanding. He just stopped.
Dang.
Yes. Now, what doesn't make sense to me, I will say, is, like, there's a bunch of other celebrities that have financial like advisors that didn't do that, and they're like being sued. So it's like
probably is why that's probably why this is getting so much traction, because I don't know, maybe people don't take Taylor Swift as seriously as they should. Maybe that's
they don't.
What the point
Women
is.
in STEM. Yeah, like good for her. Well, good for her advisors, really. I know she's like hugging them right now. So, okay, so some of the things I did want to talk about this. So, like, if this isn't above your bank account, here's a couple things this article from CNBC said to look out for. So the SEC uses a Howey test to determine whether something counts as an investment contract. So if there is an investment money, it is a common enterprise in which the investor expects a profit, and the profit is derived solely from the efforts of others. So if you're kind of like an MLM, essentially, like I give you $500, and you're supposed to give me back $700. But the only way you can get that $700 is if you ask a bunch of other people if they can give you $500, and then eventually, if you ask 7 people, can they give you $500?
Isn't that like a Ponzi scheme? Is that what that is?
It's not the same, but yes,
okay.
It's all wrong.
Yes. Okay.
So, bad. And that's what happened. So here we go. It's against federal law for a company to offer or sell securities unless the offerings have been registered with the SEC. So everyday investors can scrutinize unregistered offerings just like Swift by watching out for red flags. So I'm going to give you the 3 red flags. They go into more depth in the article, which I'll link. But the 3 red flags are claims of a high return with little or no risk. So I'm giving you $500 and you said, oh yeah, you're going to get back $5,000. Don't even worry about it. Tomorrow. There's no risk at all. Unregistered investment professionals. So I'm guessing this is meaning like I Google you and you are associated with like Goldman Sachs or something like that. You're just like a cool girl that's on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then problem sales documents. So I'm over there about to sign and you have misspelled the company you said you're working for's name, things like that.
Signed Daffy Duck.
Yes. So these are the things to look out for if this is in your bank account range. And if not, it's a cool, interesting story that all these people were fooled except for Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I would love to know how close she actually got to doing business with them, because it sounds like they were in the like negotiating. Yeah. So it feels like she might have gotten kind of close to doing business. And what would have happened if she had done business with them? That's my other question.
So she would be sued. Let me look up really quick.
By fans?
No, she would be sued by the SEC.
Okay. Thank you so much for clarifying this. I really hope I'm not the only person confused by this.
You're not. Listen to this. Listen. Who is on this? Who is being sued? Part of the FTX thing. Tom Brady.
Oh, no.
Steph Curry.
Oh, no.
Naomi Osaka.
Oh.
David Big Papa Ortiz. I don't know who that is.
What?
And Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary.
Oof.
So they're being sued. They're part of the lawsuit.
Oh, that's an oof.
And Larry David.
Wow.
So that would have been T-Swizzle, but thank God it's not. Okay, so the next topic, next article is actually listener voted. You guys on my personal account, you overwhelmingly voted for the Morgan Wallen story, and then on the Those Are the Girls account, I think it was like, unfortunately we get a bunch of bots. So when I was looking at who voted, it was like a bunch of bots voted for the beauty one. So I'm going to say that like Morgan Wallen won. We can talk about the beauty one another time anyway. Okay. So here we go. This is page 6. So this is actually going to be an interesting conversation that we're going to have. So this is from page 6. Morgan Wallen sued for canceling Mississippi concert minutes before showtime. A Morgan Wallen fan is suing the country singer for canceling a concert minutes before showtime. Brandy Burkham filed a lawsuit Monday after attending Wallen's show Sunday at the Vault Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, Mississippi, only to be told at the 11th hour that the performer had lost his voice. Brandy said in court documents obtained by page 6 that while the venue promised refunds at point of purchase, hers had yet to be issued when she filed the suit. Even if ticket prices are refunded, no offer has been made to reimburse concert goers for other out-of-pocket expenses they incurred in connection with the concert cancellation, including transportation, lodging, food, merchandise sales, transaction fees, and other such expenses. End quote. Brandy voluntarily dismissed her complaint Tuesday, but her attorney said they plan to refile it as a class action lawsuit representing multiple disgruntled ticket goers. Quote, the second lawsuit, like the first, will seek compensation on behalf of all those affected, not just one person. Tens of thousands of people collectively spent millions to attend this event, and those affected are entitled to know the truth and to be made whole. End quote. So, my question is, what responsibility do artists have with when their shows are canceled? I mean, anything can cancel your show, and anybody can get sick. It's not, if he gets sick, it's not his fault. That's just how his body is. And I listened to another podcast and they made a good point that like it probably isn't the most healthy thing to be touring all the time and touching tons of people
Totally.
and like hugging them. So like if an artist gets sick, it's not necessarily their fault. Do they have a responsibility to to obviously refund money, I think. Refund money or reschedule with the same tickets.
You mean?
Yeah, refund the tickets, obviously. But is there more that needs to be done? That's on one hand, okay? Well, actually, let's talk about that first. And then I'm going to throw in a wrench in a second. So what do you think?
Well, I want to know, first of all, why it was minutes before. Because I know for a lot of jobs, you kind of have to give a 24-hour notice or something along those lines. I feel like there needs to be something in the contract that says, look, I'm only responsible for you up until 24 hours before the concert. And if I give you, you know, some kind of weird thing after 24 hours, then sure, I'm responsible. Do you know what I mean? Or 12 hours or something. There needs to be clarification about this.
So I think you're making a very valid point, because he said that he lost his voice. Okay. That's what he said. If he truly lost his voice, he lost his voice at 8 a.m. that morning.
Yeah, not like you wake up.
Right. Not after.
Even if you're feeling like, I've got a really bad headache, and it doesn't feel like Advil's going to do it for me. You know, I woke up this morning.
Maybe not a headache, because I low-key, like, that's what's so hard and toxic about this, because I low-key think if you have a headache, you should still push through. If people have paid to come see you, like, there's been times I've had a headache and I really have not wanted to record, but I'm like, well, no, I gotta stick with the schedule. So if you're a singer, the only thing, to be honest, that I think would be the voice. Like, that's the only sickness I think you probably should not push through. And I know that's a hot take, and I know that's kind of toxic. But
what about like a physical, like, I broke my arm or I broke my leg, or do you feel like get a cast?
Yeah. Like, if it's your arm, get a cast.
Yeah.
If it's your leg, you know, maybe don't booty shake the whole, like, concert. Yeah. But, like, you can still get up there and, like, do a little bit of something. I don't know. I think that's just, like, your responsibility as, like, an artist and as someone, like, that's part of the job, I think. Because, like, think about it. If I were to break my leg, I have no doubt they're gonna text me, okay, so what time are you gonna be in the next day? Like, I don't think it's, you know, so I think that's the aspect. But I will say, so it's not like everybody gets there and they're all waiting, and then he says, no, they apparently went through the first 3 opening acts, and then he says it. Yeah. So I'm gonna throw in a wrench.
Oh, jeez.
The word on the street, the scuttlebug, is that he was actually, like, too drunk. That's what some of the people, I saw multiple reports of this, some of the people were saying, some of the people who worked at the venue were saying that he was too drunk. And I want to say it was on Inside Edition, someone said an ambulance had to come to take him away.
Okay, that is a totally
different... If that is true, does he still have a responsibility? Like, do you think he should reimburse some of these tickets?
I do. I mean, that is 100% preventable. I have much more sympathy for a sore throat than for being stupid.
And, like, even if he was sick, like, so I do think you should push through if you break your arm. But let's say he did break his arm and he said, I can't perform. I would be, like, I wouldn't sue. Well, first of all, I wouldn't sue at all, because I do think it's a little silly to sue over this. But, like, I have sympathy for people who work so hard.
Depends on, like, I mean, some people, like, put their life savings into things like this.
Well, and that's also stupid. So, like,
I would never, but, like, if that's something that, like, your dying breath, you want to see this guy, Morgan Wallen, who I don't even know, then fine.
Like, so I have sympathy for, you know, the couple that got a babysitter. I heard someone say this, so I'm kind of, like, stealing but they made a very good point. A couple that got a babysitter and they dressed up and, like, they're like, okay, this is it. We're going, you know, grabbing their man's hand. This is the night. We're going to go see Morgan Wallen. I'm so excited.
Well, and you get,
I have sympathy for them.
And gas and lodging.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So I have sympathy for them, for sure. But if someone spent thousands of dollars, I have a little bit less sympathy. But I also think I think suing doesn't make sense, but I think he should be held accountable if he really truly was drunk. Like if he did not
that's 100% valid.
He should be held accountable. I don't know. I think financially is probably the best way to affect him because yeah, that's way to compensate. But I think he should be held accountable if that's it. If he breaks his arm, even if his mom died, I would be okay. No, that's what I'm saying. Like I would be okay if him not performing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If his mom, I'd be okay with him not performing. I'm just trying to think of other things that I think you can't help if a family member dies, if you're super sick or even lightly sick. I won't respond because
that's too much of a
the
hot
listeners.
Take.
Yeah, I want to keep having listeners. I'm not going to respond.
Okay, this is a very interesting topic though because this has happened before. It's inevitably going to happen again. Not probably the drunk part, but the illness part or the things come up. That's a great question. And I think that the really only way you can solve this legally, maybe not morally, because I don't have all the moral answers, is to have something in your contract, to have something in the terms and conditions that says, I am responsible for up to 12 hours before the concert.
See, no. I don't think you should have any. I think this is more of a moral thing. You have to do the right thing because anything can happen. Anything can happen. An hour before, we had that conversation. Oh, no, it wasn't with you. It was with Isabel. An hour before your concert, you get up there, you're getting ready, and you have a miscarriage. Now, we hear Halsey, Lady Gaga, tons of artists have, kept going through a miscarriage, but, not everybody is going to do that. Not everybody has to do that. Sometimes a miscarriage could be a little bit more traumatic than what they had. So and that can happen 20 minutes before you're supposed to go out. So I don't think that having the hour thing is even in there. I think it's just more of integrity. I think you have to have integrity. But I do think I think it would have to be integrity. Because think about this too, people are not going to want to perform if you can lose millions of dollars because something comes up. Because something comes up, you can lose millions of dollars. People are not going to want to sign contracts and perform at venues. That's why this lawsuit is going to be, I think it depends on how I was going to say, I think it could be transformative depending on how many people pick this story up.
Yeah.
So if it's just one of those things that Page 6 talks about and then no one ever talks about it again, then I don't think it's going to make a difference because that also probably means they settled. But if it's something that tons of people are talking about, I think it can make a difference because if they do win, you can kind of, someone can get sick that morning and try to push through it, and then if 12 hours later decide they can't do it anymore, then you can sue them. And that's not fair. That's just not fair to artists because anything can happen.
Yeah, totally. Very subjective.
Yeah.
So what's our next story?
The next story first, though, is brought to you by American Woman Beauty. These are beauty products for the free-thinking woman, and they're all cruelty-free, and they're not tested on animals. So let's continue to support businesses that support our business, our values, and our business. I'm sure this business will support your business. And you can listen to episode 180, and I interviewed the founder. If you head to AmericanWomanBeauty.net and you use the code MAL15, you can get 15% off your purchase. All right, so the next story is actually a reel from Instagram that I'm going to play.
Young people in the White House.
Okay, so it's so funny. Okay, sorry.
On the White House.
Okay, it's so funny because it is Julia. Why can I not remember her name? Julia Uncut Gems. You guys know who I'm talking about. It's her talking with some girl. I have no idea who she is, but it's Uncut Gems. Okay, ready? Here we go.
People in the White House. We need representation.
Yeah.
These old white men, nobody has anything in common with them. They have no idea what the real world is like. They've been living in their bubbles, shielded from reality for so long. How can they accurately identify our needs and lead our, like, they're so out of touch. And crazy. Like, me and you should run, literally. When am I gonna... young people in the White House? We need representation. These old white men, nobody has anything in common with them. They have no idea what the real world is like. They've been living in their bubbles, shielded from reality for so long. How can they accurately identify our needs and lead our, like...
Oh, that's so funny. They like repeated the same thing on that reel. Okay, so you guys get the gist of what they were saying.
Haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, this is such a new argument. How creative of them. Who you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Yeah, I can start off. Well, obviously, okay, the thing that, like, the big thing with this is Spotify, like, collabed with this.
I will say they are a Spotify podcast. So that is...
But my point, but, like, why would Spotify use its platform to post this non-substantive, nonsensical 15 seconds? You see what I'm saying?
Fair.
Like, it seems to me like something that a personal account would post, not a business, not a huge business that needs, followers.
Well, I'm not supporting their decision to post this, but I bet what this is, so this is one of their, Spotify not owns, but like they partner with podcasts so that they'll be the only so like, for example, Call Her Daddy they gave that girl $60 million to just be a Spotify podcast. So they'll post clips from some of their I don't think they gave Julia, I cannot remember her last name, Julia Uncut Gems. I don't think they gave her $60 million. But I think the reason why is for conversation. They knew that this would spark some engagement. They knew girls will be like, yeah, women's rights, women's reproduction stuff. Yeah. And it's like, these Uncut Gems and whoever the other girl is, I don't want to put down other women, but they just really weren't saying anything new. They weren't doing it for me. No, they weren't really saying anything new, and like,
I would love to have heard like actual issues that they're having with society.
Yeah.
It's too easy to just say like the world is doomed. Instead of saying these are the things that I'm worried about. And I also feel like I love the somebody commented, I think it was a shout out to Adam, who commented, "I hate my generation." Because
That's funny.
This is how our generation talks about current events. Non-substantive generalizations that have no essence and value and meaning. I want to know what you're trying to say. Just say it. Don't be whoa, I just hit my mic because I'm like so excited. Don't be general. Don't beat around the bush. Just be specific. I want to know your specific thoughts. Because the more general you are, the dumber you sound, really. Because it sounds like you're just trying to jump on the bandwagon of being upset and mad at all the white men when you have no valuable, substantive reason to be mad at the white men. And there are plenty of reasons. So give me one. Give me a reason.
And I want to add, it felt very much kettle and pot, because she was talking about them being in their bubble, and it's like, Julia, sweetheart, you're in a bubble too. Like, you probably have more in common with them than you think. You certainly have more in common with them than I do. So let's...
Two rich white girls talking about how much they hate rich white men.
Yeah, like, I don't know. That sounds a little crazy. So that also got me thinking, like, what do we want for the future when it comes to our politicians? What are some things that you think we should be looking for? Like, let us be the girls that have substance to what we're talking about. What are some things that you're looking for? And because election season is in full force. We had President Biden announced that he's running again.
Yes,
We've had Robert Kennedy Jr. Is it? Yes, he announced that he's running.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, he announced that he's running. And I want to say a governor announced this morning, I got a notification that he's running. And I'm going to be honest, right now the race really is between Trump and Biden. But, you know, like, let's discuss other people running as well.
Yeah,
but, like,
give it some energy. Why not?
So, what are some things that you're looking for?
I am looking for someone who actually has values, like somebody that seriously would die for their values and their beliefs.
Oh, okay.
Not someone who is going to be persuaded by money or be persuaded by, you know, other campaigns and pressure. I don't want somebody that's going to be persuaded by pressure. I would rather have someone honestly fail and do horribly in a general or whatever, but who sticks to their values than someone who is wishy-washy and is going to do what's popular. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, and I agree completely. I think that when this election's coming up, when we're looking for people who we should be voting for, I think it's really important to like recognize what are our values. So like for myself, I'll say like I want to vote for someone who espouses Christian values. That is who I would like to vote for. When the time comes, you know, who are the two people there? We'll see. But like ideally, I'm looking for a candidate who has good character. Like I think over the last couple of years, I realized like character is so important to me. Mm-hmm. So who has good character and who I think, like you said, like will stand up for truth. I think truth is probably the most important thing. I think that's something that all of us, like everybody listening, whether you are on the same political side as myself or not, but like we all want someone who's going to go with the truth, because obviously, you know, many of us feel as if we've been lied to about a variety of things that have happened in the last couple of years, and we want someone who's going to tell us the truth and stand up for the truth. And yeah, those are some things that we're looking for.
And I don't mean just standing up for the truth among the base. It's really easy for pro-lifers to tell other pro-lifers why we're pro-life.
Right.
I want someone who's going to be that in the face of anything. And that's hard. I know that I sway. I sway in the stupidest ways when I'm around people I don't feel comfortable with. But I think we should hold our politicians to a higher standard. And that means being strong in the face of adversity, but not strong in a way that, you know, is going to get Fox News excited.
Yeah.
Strong in a way that is loving, empathetic, and probably not going to make headlines, but is going to reach you on a personal level. Maybe that's too naive, but that's what I'd like to see.
And I want to add, I think she had an interesting, I'm not going to say it's a valid or a correct point, but an interesting point about how the politician doesn't really understand what they're going through because they're not the same. And I do agree that is something that many politicians struggle with. But here's the thing. I want someone who is willing to listen, who might not have the similar struggles, but they're willing to listen to those who have had those struggles. They're willing to listen to those who might know better in this particular area. So that's someone else who I want. I've been noticed, and even in my life, like even as just someone who is a part of a lot of organizations, like that's something I'm noticing in a leader that like I want to emulate, and that's something that I want. If I'm going to be under someone's leadership, I want someone like that who can admit they don't know everything, but they're willing to defer to people who do. Yeah. Perfect example, I'll say, and this will be a good segue to our next story. We have two more political stories that we won't take too long to discuss, but the abortion issue. The truth is, no man can understand what a pregnancy is, understand how it feels to have a period. There's no way. Does that mean we can't have a man as the president? We can't have a man, you know, on a bill? No, that's not what it means. It means that man doesn't understand that, but is he willing to listen to women who can explain, you know what, actually during a period, it could be actually very painful. So it'd be great if we can, you know, add this legislation. You know what, when a woman has a baby, well, it really, for her mental health, for her physical health, for the baby's health, it actually would be nice if she could have 6 weeks of paid leave from her job. You know, this is when we can come in and discuss and have conversations. That is something that I am looking for in a president. And you know, the next couple of months, we're going to see who exemplifies these things, and let us know, what are you guys looking for in a president? What are some things that you want your president to, some characteristics? And you can tell us, you know, be pro-life. Obviously, those are the girls, we are pro-life. So be pro-life, or some things. Standing up for truth and good character. Christian. I want to say I want someone who's Christian, because I do. But I want someone who doesn't just say they're Christian, but like exemplifies, like you can see there's fruit in it. So let us know.
I would rather someone who has, you know, strong moral character, but who probably doesn't identify as Christian, than somebody who identifies as Christian and is horrible. Because honestly, which one makes Christians look worse?
Okay, that's a hot take. I go back and forth, because I do think the difference between someone who does not identify as a Christian and someone who does, but does make us look bad, is like, we can hold the person who does identify as Christian accountable. But like, if someone who's non-Christian does do something bad, like, I can't, that's, you know.
I think we can still hold them accountable morally.
Sure, you can hold them accountable morally, but like, let's say, for example, if it's someone who doesn't have, who just, their morality is defined by like the current system, like they don't have anything concrete, so like why should I tell them that like murder is wrong just because we think it's murder?
What if they're a pro-life atheist or something?
Then that's fabulous if they're pro-life. Well, my thing is like, if you don't have something that's like, they're pro-life atheists, okay. My thing is like, if you don't have something that is not changing, then it can change at any moment. So then I can't really trust that you're sticking with that morality. So like, for example, the atheist that's pro-life is pro-life today. I'm not saying like anyone that's pro-life. This is not a dig at pro-life. We're just talking at a higher level philosophy.
Yeah.
My opinion on this topic. So someone that is pro-life atheist, if you don't have like something concrete that says like, okay, this thing, murder, is wrong, then 15 million years from now, if the society decides, oh no, murder is good, we have to sacrifice someone once a day for the gods, like if that's something that they decide, then like, you know, I see
your point.
I can't hold them accountable. Yeah. So like with Christianity now, does every Christian think it like this? Absolutely not. But like with Christianity, we have the thing that says do not murder, and that has not changed throughout the entire Bible. So if I am a Christian and I'm murdering, you can say, hey, you're not supposed to do that. You have something, and it hasn't changed. Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. This isn't changing. That's what I'm saying. So that's been your philosophical. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I think a lot of times politicians use being Christian to get that evangelical vote, and that's not cool, because if you don't actually walk the talk, which is something that you and I are both saying, then it's meaningless. Anything you say is meaningless virtually.
Now, I agree with that 110%. And a class in college, we were actually talking about that. At the time, this was 2017, I believe, there had only been one person who did not identify. I think there had only been one person ever elected who was an atheist, and that's like statistically impossible.
Wow.
Like, statistically, that's impossible. So that means there were people who have been elected that really weren't Christians. So I do believe, and I mean, tons. You guys, one day, maybe I can share some tea. Tons of people, politicians, commentators, that say that they're Christians but aren't really, you see there's no fruit. You also talk to them for 5 seconds and all they can tell you is John 3:16, just like simple things. And like, everybody's on a different path, and I'm not trying to judge, but the Bible does say you can judge them, know them by their fruit. And if they have no fruit, then they have no fruit. So yes, absolutely. So I do agree with that. Tons of people do use the I'm a Christian as a way to get the evangelical vote. And unfortunately it does work. Now, that's wrong. And I'm not for that. I was going to add something else to that comment, but I do agree people do use that, and I think that's wrong. That's why I want someone who has fruit. And I can only think of really one politician right now. I'm not going to say any names, but there's only one politician right now I can think of that has fruit. I don't know if he's going to run, but anyway.
Yeah, my last thing is I just think it's dangerous to blindly follow someone because
that too, absolutely.
So we just need to make sure that we're being really thoughtful about what are their words and what are their actions, and do those line up.
Yes. And when people show you who they are, believe them.
There you go. Amen.
Next story. So the next story,
Supreme Court showed that they are.
What'd you say?
I said segue, bad segue. Who has the Supreme Court showed that they are?
They have showed that they go on whims. So the next story is actually kind of two stories. We're going to be talking about the Supreme Court and the abortion pill, as well as the House passing the bill that blocks transgender girls and women from participating in schools. So we're going to do this as quickly as possible. So the Supreme Court last Friday protected access, this is from CNN, protected access to a widely used abortion drug by freezing lower court rulings that place restrictions on its usage as appeals play out. As a result, the FDA approval of the drug mifepristone and subsequent actions that made it more easily accessible will remain in place while appeals play out, potentially for months to come. So, we were excited. We were like, oh, yay, it was paused, and now it has been unpaused. Supreme Court protects access to widely used drug. The Friday night move is a striking victory for the Biden administration and its allies in the abortion rights community, which suffered a withering defeat at the Supreme Court last year when the conservative majority reversed Roe v. Wade. The court's brief, unsigned order did not explain why it granted and requested by the Biden administration any manufacturer of the drug. Justice Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito publicly dissented, and the votes of the other justices were not disclosed, which is very interesting because there's a particular woman who we helped get on, and I certainly hope that she voted against the abortion pill, but I guess we won't know. The case is the most important abortion-related dispute to reach the High Court since the justices overturned Roe v. Wade, triggering conservative states across the country to either ban or severely restrict procedures. I guess that's all I'll read from this, but I want to point out that sentence. It's so interesting when, this conversation, whenever I read anything from, a liberal source, they're like, oh yeah, they're banned everywhere, we can't do this, and oh gosh, we've tried everything, and it's severely restricted. And then you read anything from a conservative source, and they're like, we're trying they're stopping us at every road. We have been trying to ban it, and they will not ban us. And it's just so interesting how, both sides are acting like things are not getting through, which is, I think, also important for us to hear both sides of every argument, but make sure that you are caught up on why you believe what you believe.
Sure.
But I think it's so important to hear both sides because everybody's both sides think that they're losing when I guess the reality is neither side.
And also think they're winning.
So anyway, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say and people said our court was biased. I mean, come on. The one good thing that has come out of this is now I can be are they, or are they just trying to stick to the Constitution? Now, I know many of these justices have their own beliefs, but things like this make me think they're probably not all that biased. They're probably not, being like, I'm conservative, therefore I'm going to vote in this way. They're probably trying to apply the Constitution in some way, which they deserve credit for. I want to say, it really bothers me when we say abortion is safe and effective, or that when we say this pill is safe and effective, or this combination of pills is safe and effective, because we wouldn't say, oh, a lethal injection is safe and effective.
Mm-hmm.
That would be probably offensive, right? That would be rude to say. We might say that it's not going to harm the executioner and it's effective in killing someone, but we wouldn't say it's it's safe, it's effective, necessary, positive, cheap, accessible, etc. It would be disrespectful at very least to say that. So I just want to throw out, it's not safe to kill a person. Not safe. Might be effective. Safe.
That is an incredibly valid point. And I think so. Okay, so a couple of things you were saying about the court. I really would love to know everyone's reasoning and how everyone voted. And I'm just so curious what convinced those who voted, because clearly someone who has voted pro-life, someone who has understood the Constitution does not have a right to abortion, had voted in a way that made it seem as if mifepristone was okay. So I am curious what argument was said. I think hopefully we'll get more information about it in the future. But I just really want to reiterate that we know mifepristone is very dangerous. We know that there have been women who have died because of complications. And most importantly, we know that it's already too easily accessible. And you can just go on a website, and if you don't believe us, try it yourself. You can go on a website. You don't have to ever see a doctor. Tell them the estimated amount of weeks you're pregnant. They will have a prescription filled for you, and then it'll come right to your local pharmacy. So
the estimated amount of weeks you're pregnant, again, keyword estimated. I might be 15 weeks, but I think I'm 10. Whatever.
And you're not supposed to take it after 10 weeks.
Exactly.
It has very dangerous consequences. We did an episode about the abortion pill and abortion pill reversal. I will try to remember to link that for you guys. It's a really good resource. We speak to someone who works for Pregnancy Resource Center and has been able to see a couple reversals and who has a little bit more knowledge on this topic, but it is very, very dangerous. It's not something that you should support. And I will say the law, everything is connected, and I wish people could almost compartmentalize some things. The reason why I'm saying this is I was watching a clip from The Daily Show, that show on Comedy Central, because they were talking about abortion. I was like, ooh, let's see what they're saying about it. And you can get a prescription for mifepristone from your veterinarian because they also use it on animals.
Whoa.
And it's mifepristone. Okay, haven't heard a single pro-lifer talk about that, which is fine. They probably don't know. But it's like tiny things like that, I'm sure, make things so confusing when making laws. Now, to me, compartmentalizing, don't use mifepristone on humans. Simple, easy. But, when you're making laws, you gotta have this, and that. But I just find that interesting. I think, once again, don't use mifepristone on humans. I told you guys about that Law and Order episode that was, 1990 something. I'm rewatching not really rewatching it. It was just on Peacock. Anyway, and the guy got in a lot of trouble because he was having sex with the girl, took his condom off, and tried to insert mifepristone into her body.
Oh my gosh.
And in the episode, the person was like, "Oh, this is such a terrible drug. Oh my goodness, it's not even approved by the FDA." Like it was like yes, you guys, accidentally pro-life. We really should have a segment like that. But yeah, they're like, "Oh, this isn't approved by the FDA. This is so terrible." And like he went to jail. Like he got in a lot of trouble for doing that. So it's like, what has happened between now and then? Really, it goes back to culture. It goes back to culture. Mm-hmm. This is all part of culture. I don't know who said this, but tons of political commentators say it all the time. Politics is downstream from culture. Once we have changed the culture's perception of something, that is how politics are made. Because people who are making laws, who are legislating, they are just regular, everyday, well, not regular, but they're everyday people. They're like us in the sense that they have culture. They understand they're consuming content. The other thing to talk about really quick is actually a win. The GOP passed a bill. This is from USA Today. They passed a bill that blocks transgender girls and women from participating in school athletic programs for females. The legislation, called the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, makes it a violation of Title IX for federally funded education programs to allow people assigned male at birth to participate in athletic programs designated for women. It prohibits federal funding to institutions that allow people assigned to It prohibits federal funding to institutions that allow people assigned male at birth to participate in women's sports. It was passed in the House 219 to 220 along party line votes. What does that mean, the voting, you guys? I want everyone to understand and think about.
Wait, let's go back. I think you said 219 to 220.
219 to 203. Sorry about that. So I want everybody to understand. 219 is the number of Republicans. 220 is the number of Democrats. It was literally split down the middle. And that is crazy to me. That is showing how far we have come when it comes to political, when it comes to political parties. We're no longer a little bit here, a little bit there. We're so divided as a country. 219 to 203. Not a single Republican voted against it, and not a single Democrat voted for it. Now, does this happen?
You're saying there are 219 Democrats.
203 Republicans. I'm sorry, 219 Republicans.
Because 203 Democrats.
203 Democrats.
Got it.
Because let me make sure nobody abstained. But I know, so I'll say this. Every 219 vote that voted for it was a Republican. Every 203 vote that voted against it was a Democrat. Someone could have abstained. I'll say it that way. The 219 votes for it were Republican. 203 votes for it were Democrat. And it just shows it's split. And has this happened before? Has this happened before? Absolutely, I'm sure. But I'm talking about this time. Okay. What were your thoughts?
No, well, while you look that up, because I would be interested to see if anybody. Yeah. First of all, I just want to say, people are probably expecting us to be gung-ho, very excited that the Supreme Court, sided with girls. While I am still very sympathetic to people who don't know their place. Trans people who aren't sure what this means for them. They don't know if they can ever play sports. And I can't imagine how scary that must be for them. And I sincerely hope that there's a time when we can all play sports in a fair way. I'm not celebrating that this is a dig on trans rights. I'm celebrating because girls are seriously affected. Our scholarships are affected. Our livelihoods can be affected by this because it's a matter of fairness. We're talking about high testosterone versus low testosterone levels. That's just not fair. That's why we have the sports separated. So again, I'm very sympathetic to people who, are sad about this, to people who are am I ever going to be allowed to play freaking softball, These are things that I'm very sympathetic to, and I want the listeners to know. And if you don't want to take it from us that this really is a fairness issue, nothing more, nothing less, listen to Bruce Jenner. Well, now Caitlyn Jenner describe her opinion on the issue, because Caitlyn has said, like, it's not fair for trans athletes to be playing against girls. And Bruce Jenner was a former Olympic athlete. Like, we're not talking about just some podunk person. Like, Caitlyn Jenner has a very conservative opinion on this, and it's not necessarily a political issue for Caitlyn. So if you don't want to take it from us, take it from Bruce Jenner, now Caitlyn Jenner, on the issue.
Or you can also take it from Macy, who was on a recent episode of the podcast that I'll try to remember to link. And what she said, I think about this all the time. She said sports aren't there to, like, make you feel good about yourself. It's just, sports are just sports. So it's not like your sports aren't supposed to confirm your identity. They're not. Sports aren't supposed to affirm your identity. So I think about that all the time. And I think that kind of sums up the whole issue, like at least how I feel, like sports aren't supposed to affirm your identity. Sports are just supposed to be played fairly amongst people of the same gender / sex. So I think
Jesus affirms your identity, people.
Yes, Jesus affirms your identity. We're not saying that.
Yeah, wait.
Your identity is affirmed in Christ. Let's back up for a second. We're not saying that
birth identity is affirmed in Christ.
Yes.
How he created you is affirmed.
Yes.
In him.
That's what we're saying. Whew. And so let's be honest, let's be real. This conversation is sometimes hard to have because it is built on emotion. It is built on people's identity. I think, and this is what I'm learning, just in this field and doing all this, like, the harder conversations are the conversations where people their whole identity is fit into it. And we were talking about something that wasn't someone hadn't made their identity, then it would just be so much easier to, like, just freely express how you feel.
Yes.
But people have made
just logic, fact, reason.
Exactly. It's so much easier
to
discuss, but people have made this their identity. And what we're here to do is speak the truth. So the truth is, your identity in Christ is, like, that's what matters. Like, how God created you is what matters. That is what we affirm as well. Like, we affirm your identity in Christ. And that's the truth. God made male and female. That's that. Don't argue with me, argue with God, read the Bible. So that's what we're here to say. That's the truth. And ideally, we want to use grace and love. Ideally. I added a little joke in there. That was my grace and love. 1-2 punch. But anyway, so this is a great win for women everywhere, because I think, like Freeman said, like, it affects scholarships. It affects people livelihoods. It affects people have worked careers, hours training for different awards that they might not be able to get.
It also affects our physical health, because, like, the strain that sometimes accompanies going against someone of much more strength, that physical strain that it puts your body under. And I remember the recent podcast about this. The girl talked about, like, there have been, like, severe injuries, of people just not being able to measure up, physically.
Yes.
So not even just financially, this affects women, but physically it does, emotionally.
Yeah. So, and I think, once again, this is important for us to speak up about, because, it's in sports right now. I always go back to this: shelters. We do not want biological men in shelters with women who have been domestic violence victims, that have other things going on. We don't want that. That's sad that this person needs a shelter, and there are shelters for that, but we want to make sure that we have women's spaces. It is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But also treat people respectfully. You know, you don't walk up and slap the person. That's ridiculous. But, you know, it's okay to have women's spaces. It's okay. And then really, I was going to do like a fun little, like, something to end it on, but we're already not well over an hour. We're over an hour. So let's not end it on that. Let's end it on just great conversation that we just had. Woo!
Amen. Good conversations all day, every day.
If you guys have different ideas, or if you want to discuss any of these topics more, you can head over to our app. On our app, we're going to have a post where everybody can discuss the different things the different ideas and thoughts that you had. If you were listening to this on Spotify, let us know, what are some things that you're looking for? What are some qualities that you want in the next president and the next leader of our country? You can also tell us, do you think that, so the Spotify question will be about the president, but on YouTube and everywhere else, you can also tell us, do you think that celebrities have a responsibility to their fans if they cancel super last minute? Should they, you know, pay them? Well, obviously they should pay the money back, but should they also pay for lodging? Merchandise? That part was also weird. Like,
time off, PTO,
right? PTO, like, should they be paying for
oxygen.
These things? Right. Should they be paying for these if they got, you know, like a cute little, like, tattoo, those little diamonds, like, for the tattoo? Yeah, should they be paying for those? Like, let us know. And let us know on YouTube, wherever you're listening. Please interact. However, if you enjoyed the podcast, also leave a review and give us a rating. We would appreciate only 5-star ratings. So if you didn't think this was 5-star, listen to the next one. Just keep listening
Hit us up individually. Yeah.
Keep listening until you think it's 5-star, and then leave a 5-star. But if you think it's 5-star now, go ahead and leave that 5-star for us. We gratefully appreciate it. And I'm trying to think of anything else. I'm just so grateful to be back. We are back to our regularly scheduled programming. A new episode every Saturday and new episodes most Tuesdays. Trying to think of anything else. I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for listening. Rate, review, like, subscribe, however, wherever you're listening. Have a good night, evening, however, wherever you're listening. Bye.
Adios.